Hey guys, what's up? Today we're gonna fit the new pans for the 1967 Karmann Ghia on the chassis and see how good these new pans are. I picked these up from CIP1. They are made by Home. I'm not sure exactly what country they're from. Maybe one of you guys know. According to CIP1, this is a new pressing and it's supposed to fit a little better than the old school ones. There's a couple different versions. And apparently this is the better one now. All right, let's see how this pan fits on here. A little dent right here I'm gonna straighten out real quick. It's a little banged up here and there. There is a bunch of little crinkles here. I guess it's just part of how they have to do it, but I know the original ones were smooth here. So I'll try to clean that up the best I can. All right, right out of the box, it's a little long, which is okay, I guess. Better than being a little short. And it's off the tunnel here quite a bit. And these holes are pretty far off. So I think where we'll start I think we'll take a little bit off of the back here. We'll just grind this down. We could probably take a cutting wheel and just cut a big chunk of it off. Or we could grind it down with the grinding wheel. But see, we got a bit of a ways to come back here if those holes are supposed to match up. Yeah, so we're gonna have to do some fitting to get these to match up. I think what I'll do is I'm gonna start here and just grind some of this down. All right, trimmed off a little bit, not a lot, but you can kind of see it's starting to inch its way back here a little bit, but it's hitting here. So we need to take a little bit more off, 1/4 inch or so. I mean, you could probably just do it with a grinding wheel and cut a bigger chunk off. I'm just trying to be cautious because it's my first time. And then you can kind of see it's hitting here. But then you can see over here, there's a big gap. So, I think we're just gonna maybe round that off a little bit and keep pulling back here till about right here or so. And just keep inching this over and back until these holes line up a little bit better. right, we're getting closer. These holes are lining up better here. They're back. Now we just need to go over a little bit, which you can kind of see here, this gap here. That needs to go over, but we're good. We got clearance back here now. So what's holding that up is right here. So we gotta trim this back. Just keep trimming this back and maybe a little bit here. But we got pretty good clearance back here now. And we still got plenty of lip under there. The lip comes out to about right here. So we got plenty of lip to weld to. Let's get some of this off of here. Focus on that corner right there. And that should help us push it back more. All right, guys, I don't know how far off this is going to be, you know, but I'm trying to line it up with these two holes here. It seems like that makes the most sense if you can get these two lined up, because this is original. So those two holes should be pretty critical as far as lining up. Now, you know, how far off the rest of the pan is, I don't know, but I know this area here, you know, the original one came up a little further, kind of like that. But when we pull it up to there, just judging it off of this here, this all fits fine. Everything's fitting pretty good. We're even a lot closer on the back edge here now. But the further back we get, the further off it gets. So I think we still need to trim some of this back. But then we lose this here. Now there's still quite a bit of flexibility there to get the screws through. And it gives you room to go left and right and back and forth a little bit. You know, and you can always pry this metal back with a screwdriver or a punch or whatever. But it seems like there's going to be a sweet spot in here to have these line up and to still have enough meat on the end here to weld onto. So I gotta find that balance, because I didn't cut any of this. I just trimmed this back a little bit here because it was hitting, and I barely hit this right here, but I didn't trim any of this. This is how it just came. So it looked like they had welds right here, so I need to get, you know, as close to that as I can. We're getting there. We're getting there. Needs a little fine adjustment, a little bit more off of here. I just scrape these little lines just to show, you know, not how far back, but just how far back this way to take a little bit more off. And we're gonna have to find the sweet spot as far as having room here to tack to and room to line these holes up. But I think we're getting pretty close. This is not a concourse restoration, so it doesn't have to be perfect. I just have to be able to get it on there, have room to weld, and be able to line the holes up when we go to put it back on the body. And that's why they make these, you know, egg-shaped or double hole, basically. Gives you a little bit of wiggle room back and forth to get that screw in there. Hopefully they'll all line up. All right, I'm gonna take a little more off that front edge, and we should be pretty close. All right. I think we're pretty close, guys. There's a little room for error here and some final adjustment. I'm not going to be welding them today. It's going to be a few more days before I get to that point. I'm going to take the tunnel outside and sandblast it. Try to get some up in here, you know, but get all these crevices, get all these hard to get to areas. Sandblast all this really good. Sandblast all this. And I think when we're done sandblasting, we should be able to stand it up, lean it sideways, both ways, and blow compressed air and blower through there and just get everything out. Make sure all the sand is out of it. I don't really see any areas where it can get trapped, but we'll do our best to blow the heck out of it. Really, really good. All right, it's cleaning up pretty good. I've decided to leave that layer. I think it'll be fine. I didn't want to jeopardize messing up the under piece, and it's all welded on here. Pretty good, bunch of different welds. So it only adds just a little bit of thickness on the rear here. I think it'll be fine. And then this is just one little layer left over from the pan that overlaps on this here. You can kind of see it there. But I've made the decision to just grind it back to line up with the pan underneath. I think that'll be fine. It just adds a little extra layer. And then this is all cleaned and stripped. There's nothing of the original pan left on here. This is all the tunnel. And you can see the difference between where the pan was welded. Looks like every inch or so. Some more than others. And then you can see where they welded the tube together. So when I sandblast all this, we'll be able to see even better any more imperfections that are hiding. And also, you know, we'll be able to clean this stuff up like this real good. I don't know what I'm going to do here. It should look like that. It's supposed to come out like that. So I don't know if we can get up in there and put in a new piece or what. We'll figure that out later. And then this piece here, they screwed up because they put in that old school, old transmission, and I guess they needed some clearance here, so they chopped and banged this all up. But we should be able to reuse it. We might just have to clean this up a little bit, maybe tack weld that back on. Should be okay. Unless, if you guys know where to get a new one of these, maybe I'll put a new one on. But I think, you know, it's just this little piece here. I don't think it's going to be an issue. Everybody says to leave the fuel line in place, so maybe I'll just cap it with some duct tape or something. And we're going to be replacing these old seals, grommets. These old grommets are worn out. That one just fell down in there, so we'll try to dig that out. We're going to take this off and put a cap on here. We'll blow that out really good when we're done. The fuel line, high compressed air, and squirt some fuel in there and then blow it out and just clean it really good before we hook it into the fuel system. And even when we hook the fuel system up, we can hook it up and just let it blow out, you know, into a cup, and then we'll have the filter hooked up. So yeah, a lot of guys were saying leave the fuel line in. I guess it's a real pain to put a new one in there, but we're gonna try to get as much of this stuff out of here as we can. I can't even barely get my hand in here, but there is a lot of junk in there. So before I sandblast it, I'm gonna hit this with the pressure washer really good in here. I'll blow it all out with air first, get some of that junk out of there. And air, just blow air all in here and get it out as much as we can. And then pressure wash the heck out of it with all these holes. Put the pressure washer in here, back in here, stick it up in there as far as we can. Put it in here and just pressure wash the heck out of it as best we can. Back in here, force it all out, and then lean it up on its end and let it, you know, blow it out with air and let it dry out. And then we'll take it and sandblast it, get this whole thing sandblasted out here in the field. We'll use my sandblaster that I have over here. I used this on the Dragon's cab and it worked pretty good. The only modifications I've done to it is this right here. There was a YouTube video where the guy bought this, you know, and it really helped. There's some other modifications you can make too. A lot of guys will put this on, but a bigger one of these. I did change the hose because what happens is the sand comes down here, high pressure air coming through here and sand in here, and it eats away at the inside of the hose and blew a hole through it. So I had this extra hose, so I can make a few new pieces out of it as it blows out. So let's see what it looks like with both pans on there. Already got this one all set up, pretty close. This one actually fits better than this side. Seems like, I don't know if I just got lucky or both sides are slightly different. New pans, pretty cool. I think I'm pretty close on the fit. We'll do some final adjustments before we start welding. But I think we're pretty close. We could probably trim a little bit back here. Just a little bit. But look how these holes are lining up almost perfect right here. This side seems to fit really good. Again, it almost seems to me like this should be a little bit longer. for this particular chassis anyway. You know, I'm sure every chassis is different, especially when it comes to like different years. I'm sure there's slight differences in how they made these, but it seems like if they could bring this up to here, this here, I didn't cut this at all. This is how it came. But it seems to me like it should be up here. Almost another ½ inch or so. And it seems like it would be perfect. And this is almost, I did trim this back. I'm thinking those guys need to make this a little bit bigger. There is some room here to tack, and I'll tack it on there. But look how this lines up. It's almost perfect. And you could probably bang on this a little bit and get this to stretch just a little bit over here is what we'll probably do. We just need enough meat here to boom, 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 tack it on. Same thing on this side. This side fits just a little bit differently, but it's pretty close. Holes are lining up. It's not bad, guys. I mean, it took some effort, but it wasn't terrible. I actually kind of enjoyed it. So let me know what you guys think. If you've done this before, what pans you used. Did you do a Ghia? Did you do a Bug? The Ghias are limited on the selection. I know the Bugs have a lot larger selection of companies that make them. And the Bugs even come with the seat rails, a lot of them. The Ghias do not, so I have to buy the seat rails separately. I'll show you the seat rails. I tried to save them, but I talked to my buddy Mike F, and from Mike F's garage. I sent him some pictures, and he said, yeah, he could fix anything, but I don't know if it's worth shipping these out to him. So see, I cut them off with the old ones. So we need to order some new ones. They do make them. But yeah, look how bad that is. And the time and effort that it would take to try to reconstruct these, it'd be a lot. You have to think about your value, what your time is worth, and the materials that it would cost. And I just don't have the experience. Mike could do it. I'm sure he could do it, no problem. But I'm not gonna put that on him. Like, this one's not terrible. We could probably even save that one. That one's not bad. I might try to peel that bottom layer off of this one and put this in the vapor blaster and see how it looks. This one, I don't think I don't think we can save that one. Let's take another look at these here. The other thing is the crossbar that it's like a support. It's like a support brace that goes in between them. All right, so these are the seat rails. I took off the original pans. And they're in pretty bad shape. But this one looks like it could be saved. And this one looks like it could be saved. I think we could save those two. This one's pretty bad. I don't know if we could save this one or not. We might be able to. The piece that goes in between the two, it's like a support bracket to support the two. They're both trashed. And I don't even know if they make this. Hopefully they do. It doesn't look like it'd be that difficult to make. If you had a brake, you could probably make that or something similar to that. So this is basically how it went. These new pans are almost identical, like in these markings, as the old one, the originals. So it's kind of cool because I can count like the marks here and where these went, and we should be able to make measurements based on the measurements I took before I took the old ones out to get really close to where we need to be. But I'm going to order new ones, especially for this side. That driver's side I might be able to save. But this part here, I don't know if they send this part with it or not. I gotta find out because I didn't see that in the description. So what I think I saw was this and then this little bracket here. I don't think they showed this piece. So this is pretty critical, I think, to giving those stability. If you guys know different, let me know. Does this piece have to be replaced? I would think so. I think it adds a little stability to rigidity to it. Yeah, let's go ahead and try to get this bottom piece off. I'm gonna fin this side down, try to get to the welds, and hopefully peel it off from that side. Might have to stick it in a vise, and we'll go from there. Pretty happy with the pans so far. I guess we'll find out for sure once we go to line it up on the body, but I think we'll be close. Stay down on level ground here. Yeah. Had to lift that up so the pan could have clearance. I think it'll just work right here. I got the fan going, guys, because it is hot and it feels good. Have a nice, cool little breeze going. So I know a lot of you guys mentioned getting some proper tools. I actually had these at the house. When I took the pans off here, I left these at the house and I was working with what I had. This is a different style than the one I was using, but they do work. But obviously, these are made to do the job. And I'm still learning how to use all these tools, so. And I do have some spot weld bits that I got from Eastwood. So let's experiment with this a little bit. Spot welds. Let's clean this up a little bit and see if we can pry this off. That actually worked pretty good. That spot weld drill bit worked pretty good on there. See that? Likes to run a little bit. I think that's working. All right. It's looking pretty good. Let's put it in the vapor blaster and see if we can get all this rust off of it. I left these little tabs on there just as a marker for that brace, so we have an idea where it goes. Looks like there's another little piece that went right there. So these are just little indicators, so I know where to put the new one. When we get the new one, we can mark it and then clean that up a little bit more and just grind them off. All right, I'm gonna get the vapor blaster hooked up. Get this piece vapor blasting and see what we're working with. This piece looks pretty good. So I've got, I think the grit that I have in here is like a 220. It's not real aggressive, but it works pretty good with the high pressure water and the air. Let's see what happens. Hopefully there's no wasp or spiders in here. So after about a minute, this is what we have. So I'm gonna hit this for a little while. It's hard to see in here. Probably take about 5-10 minutes. Let's see what happens. All right, it's been about 10 minutes. It's starting to rain out there. Let's see what we got. It's real hard to see in here when you're doing this. You can see better if your pressure is lower. I might go turn my pressure down and just try to get some more of this off. But you can see the corrosion. But I think this piece can be saved. That was probably about 10 minutes. Hitting it with this 220 grit, and I'm going to turn the pressure down a little bit and see if that helps with visual, just being able to see better. I turned the pressure down to about 70, and it was easier to see in here. The more pressure, steam gets in here. So it's cleaning up pretty good, but obviously the more pressure you have, the harder it works. But we'll dig in here with the wire wheel and get the rest of this out. I'm pretty happy with that.